Hey, what's up, guys? This is GaryOak of Base Trade TV coming at you again with vlog number 3. I'm a little bit late making one for this week, although it probably won't affect when it is uploaded publicly to YouTube. But I've had yet another busy week for the few of you people who are taking enough interest in my vlogs to watch them. Today I just came off of I think 13-hour get together with one of my friends. We were like going over creative writing bullshit, so most people would find that pretty boring because a lot of our discussion was centered around, fantasy stuff. Well, that's not too boring, but we had quite a lot of discussions about grammar and just this and that. It's a lot of fun as a writer and, choosing language because I find you don't really appreciate good writing as well as you should until you actually start trying to write yourself, because then you really start to get a sense of, oh wow, this word here was really, really good. And most people just glaze over that and say, oh yeah, this is good, but you don't understand why a piece of writing is good. It's really hard to describe. The English language, there are so many different ways of saying the exact same sentence, but based on the character or the narrator or the situation or what's happening or the surrounding sentences or surrounding paragraphs, there's always going to be one or two optimal words for that specific slot in the sentence. For example, like, if you want to say like something is breaking through something else, like an emotion is breaking through a person or whatever, there's so many different ways of saying that, and the way you say it really changes how it comes across. And being able to figure out that exact right way to do it is so key to good writing. Like, that is one big key to good writing. And it's funny, you guys are watching like an esports channel. Right now it's mostly StarCraft, but we'll most likely be expanding into other esports. I'm not exactly sure what we'll be doing regarding that, but since this is Map Control Co., the YouTube channel, it's not just StarCraft. Base Trade is StarCraft. I'm exclusively with Base Trade, so if we do expand, you won't be seeing me with MOBAs or whatever. They're just not my cup of tea, so I'm not going to try and commentate that. I just make a fool out of myself. Who knows? I may randomly get into MOBAs one day, even though I've pretty much sworn them off forever. You know, if you told me 2 years ago I'd like these things, I would say you're completely insane. And now look what I'm holding. Like, look what's on my lap right now. So you never know what the future will bring. So you never know. But yeah, I'm just going on a rant about writing. Sorry if I'm kind of not all there, but after you've done a lot of creative writing, man, that obliterates your brain. It fries your brain so fast. And if you've been doing it all day, it's brutal. Like, my day was wake up at about 8:30, quarter to 9 in the morning, have a shower, cook breakfast, talk with a couple people, kind of like a slow, relaxed day. 10 o'clock arrives, my editor gets here, and we just start going from there. So we have, we do work, we take a break, have lunch, and, discuss stuff while, like, over the food, but not actually do proper editing work on pieces of writing. And then, at about 4 or 5 o'clock, that's when my blood sugar starts to die. So that's when I crack open an energy drink, take one of those. Probably a bad habit to drink energy drinks, but I'm trying to take them more in moderation now. Even so, I have 2 to 3 a week at most. Sometimes I have one in a week. It's a good thing to avoid, though. Even though one thing about energy drinks is the amount of caffeine in them isn't as bad as you think it is. I think Nas is about 200 milligrams, and like Monster is about 160 milligrams, and that's in like a half a liter can. Like, those really big cans about yay big. That's not too much when you think about it. The amount of caffeine you should have in a day at most is about 300 milligrams. That's the recommended amount. If you exceed that, that's not too good for you. And there's probably about 100 to 150-ish in a cup of coffee, depending on how much, like how strong the coffee is and how much you have. So a cup of coffee plus an energy drink pretty much does you for the day in terms of caffeine. but the amount it takes to actually harm you is about 5 to 7 grams. And if you do the math with like NOS, that takes literally 20 cans of NOS this big before it starts to really fuck with you. So one energy drink every so often is not bad. It's just if you have heart problems that it can really start that it can kill you. But then it's the same as if you drink pop or if you drink coffee, that will still kill you just as fast as an energy drink. So the whole hysteria, like I'm kind of bringing this up because of the thread the other day about Monster being linked to deaths, about how a 14-year-old girl had two 24-ounce cans, which I think is like 750 mils. Like I don't even think you can get them that big in Canada. So yeah, like the cans I'm talking about are I think 16-ounce cans. I believe that's the conversion, roughly. So that's the equivalent of like three cans within 24 hours or 48 hours. And the chick, like 14-year-old chick, I think I think she went into cardiac arrest and died from that. I think that's what it was from caffeine overdose. But they don't know like that much caffeine cannot kill you. It cannot kill you unless you have a pre-existing condition or you mix it with alcohol. And I've never ever tried mixing energy drinks with alcohol, and I don't intend to because energy drinks energy drinks and caffeine send a strong go signal to your body, and alcohol is a muscle relaxant, so it sends a strong stop signal. And both of those in really high potent doses at the same time really fuck with your brain because that's what caffeine does. It actually fucks with your brain a little. That's like I think one reason why you get caffeine headaches. It blocks the signals that or blocks something in your brain that tells you, okay, time to stop, time to get tired. And caffeine has a half-life of about 7 6 7 hours. So that's about it for my caffeine rant. Anyway, back to my topic here. The day. What was the day? Drinks at about. I think I had my nos at about 4, and then I think 6 7 o'clock is when I started cooking dinner. And like yeah, I usually cook for me and my editor, and he usually sticks around until 9 to 11 o'clock. Today it was 11 o'clock. You notice it's really dark outside with my really shitty webcam. It's currently 8 minutes to midnight, and I'm going to the mainland because I live on an island. I gotta leave my house at about 9:35 in the morning if I want to catch the bus. Probably closer to 9:30 if I want to be safe. Because the problem is, if I miss that bus, then that'll lead to a chain reaction of bullshit. Because in order to get to the mainland from the island I live on, I have to take a ferry, and the ferries only come every 2 hours. So, and they become real Nazis about it, about the thing, because their policy is if you are there, or 10 minutes before the ferry sailing, they stop selling tickets. Normally, if you it looks like you can run on Make It On without delaying them, they'll let you buy a ticket, but lately they've been really strict about it, and I've literally been 9 minutes before sailing. I'm clearly able to run on the boat in like 3 minutes at most. I could jog onto the boat, and they still wouldn't sell me a ticket, and I ended up having to wait. One time I was coming home from Seattle, and I was taking a different set of ferries, and they only come every 2.5 hours. It was, I think it was like 8 minutes after 8, and the ferry left at about 8:15. I was sick and I was really drained because I came back home from a convention, like a 3-day convention. So I was toast. And guess what? 8 minutes before the sailing, wouldn't let me on. I had to wait until quarter to 11 to board the boat. I didn't get home until 1:30 in the morning. It would have been worse if I didn't have a friend to drive me home. So that was awful. And last time I went to Vancouver, I only had to wait about 50 minutes because I missed the extra sailing, which wasn't too bad. I think it was like the 12 o'clock sailing or like the 12:20. I think it was 12:20 and they had another one at 12:50. So, yeah, it wasn't too bad. This time though, I got to catch the 10:30. If I miss my bus, then I'll have to take a cab or I'll have to take the 12:30. And that kind of screws me over. I kind of want to be in there early because I want to go to a big magic store called Magic Stronghold. If any of you play Magic, you may know of them as a big name store. If you've been to events, especially on the west, like the West Coast, like Seattle, you'll probably have seen them with a booth for cards. Their home store is in Burnaby, Vancouver. Well, Burnaby, which is a separate city, but it's part of the Greater Vancouver area. So If you're an outsider like me, you'll say they're in Vancouver, but they're technically in Burnaby. It's one of those things where it's a ton of smaller cities into one big city. Like Greater Vancouver area is, I don't know, 2.25 million, 2.5 million metro. That's the whole city. Like City of Vancouver itself is about 300,000. It's not that big, but it's a big ass city for us because Toronto I think is our biggest city. It's like 4.5 metro in the Greater Toronto area. Canadian cities aren't that big. It's really sobering when like Tokyo, Japan is pretty much all of Canada in one city in terms of raw population. So I'm going to be picking up some magic cards for that. I play a format called Highlander. That's pretty much all I play right now. Highlander is actually a lot of fun if you play Magic. What it is it's 100 card singleton, and you know, Highlander there can be only one. There can be only one copy of any non-basic land card in your deck, and there's a short list of cards you. The only cards that you absolutely cannot play are mostly anti cards, which are just universally banned from everything because people don't play for anti. Because anti was it was a concept they invented way back when they started printing Magic, like I think 1993 is when they came up with this, and it was just a bad idea. There are a few cards that are anti. Basically, anti it's exactly what it sounds like, but these cards are like it's overpowered card unless your opponent antis up a card. And another one's like it allows you to switch your card for any card in your deck, like from your ante. So what you could do is both of you could like agree to like wager $100 card for ante, and then you could swap it out for a swamp, which is worth like 2 cents. So even if you lose, you lose 2 cents. If you win, you get $100 worth of cards. So cards weren't worth that much back when they stopped doing ante, but now there's cards that are worth thousands of dollars. I don't have any of those, but I have a few cards that are worth about 100. And that's the thing with Highlander. Highlander, you get one copy of a card that's super duper expensive, and you can put it in your deck because aside from those anti cards, there's a small thing called the points list where really overpowered cards are pointed to make it so you can't make your decks too good. Like a certain card would be worth like say 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. You can have 7 points to a deck, and like my best, I think my highest pointed card is like 3 points. So that just keeps things balanced. So aside from the points list, anything goes. So you can play any card you want. So you want to always wanted to play with this card, you can go down and buy one. And the thing is, you only need to buy one, and you don't have to worry about it. And the really expensive cards in the Highlander decks are on something called the reserve list. So that means as long as Magic stays a game and it has a really competitive scene, I always like to say it's the StarCraft of trading card games. As long as Magic stays as a legitimate game, the card's value will go up for reserve list cards because what it means is Wizards has promised never to reprint a card. Like if you buy something like a dual land, which is worth $130 right now for the most expensive one of the cheapest print run, something like that, because there's four versions of dual lands. The cheapest version is worth like 130 bucks. In a few years, it's going to be worth more. It's not going to go down because they're never going to make more. They stopped printing them in 1994, so the copies of the world in the world are only going to go down. I highly doubt there will be many copies that are destroyed accidentally, but there will never be a new version of that card. They will never make another one. And that's basically how Magic can be a secure investment. That's like if you're nuts like me. Magic's fun. It's only one deck, so it's a continuous project. Like, you go and buy a couple cards for it and you're fine, and then you go and buy a couple cards for it and just tweak your deck. Constantly tweak. So that's what I'll be doing. And the rest of the time I'll be in Vancouver tomorrow. I'll be getting drunk and hopefully passing out later than 11 o'clock like I did last time. I made the mistake of having I was like pretty pissed off because I was like drenched from a sudden cloudburst because it's Vancouver and I got completely wet. I was like soaked, really tired, and I was like fuck it and just had way too much. I had a drink with a lot of whiskey in it. I remember that. And while that didn't get me drunk, that set me down the path a little quicker than I anticipated. And that some shots of vodka and about 8 beers later, I was pretty much done a lot earlier than I hoped. So, we'll see. Um, that's about it. It's just kind of random hopefully interesting, but probably very uninteresting rants. And I spend most of this video with my eyes closed because I'm literally that tired that my eyelids start to weigh down on me as I speak. It's now midnight. I have to be out the door of my house at 9:30. So yeah, I have 9.5 hours as of speaking this to wind down, do whatever else I need to do, like prepare lunch for tomorrow, uh, go to bed, wake up, have a shower, eat. Because if I don't eat, then I have to spend like literally $10+ on a ferry breakfast because they overcharge for their shit, and it's just terrible. The ferry food isn't that bad, but what you pay for it, man, it's not costed very well. Problem is, if you're hungry and you're on the ferry and you didn't bring anything, you either pay their stupid prices or you starve. So yeah, I gotta avoid that because it's already $15 for the ferry plus busing. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be casting next. I know that Base Trade is going to be doing a show match on Saturday, but I'll be away on that Saturday. So yeah, hopefully I'll be casting a few more things. I might be casting Team League. That's probably the next thing. Oh yes, and thanks to anyone watching this who participated in donating, especially to the charity stream. I'm not sure exactly how much we raised, but I'm pretty sure it was over $300 because Rifkin did shave his head, and the deal that he put up with the viewers was over $300 raised, and he'd shave his head. So unless he said screw it and shaved early, which I don't think he did, we easily broke the 300 mark. So that's good. That was a lot of fun streaming Doom for a couple hours. The VOD for almost everything we did on that entire stream is up on this very YouTube channel. So if you're curious about what I did or what other people did, then check it out if you want to. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks very much for listening, guys. And oh yes, I fixed my audio. I got a proper version of XSplit. There's no watermark right over there. There's a watermark there last time. No watermark this time. I hopefully don't sound like shit, so that's about it. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.